Hello, my name is Margaret Adele, and welcome to the Read Less Challenge updates. I decided to take on a challenge for the month of April where I read less. I put a cap on my reading. I could not read more than 3,000 pages for the month, or an average of 100 pages per day. And what you will see are updates, more or less weekly, about how it was going. Did it work? Did it relieve my stress? Do I feel well rested and ready to get back to it? Well, you'll find out. Hello, it is April 6th. We are on check 1 for the Read Less Challenge. How's it going? And honestly, I'm surprised by how well I'm doing because I am 6 days in and I have only finished one book. And normally, if I had gotten 6 days into a month and I'd only finished one book, I would be freaking out. Especially because this isn't a book that would take me 6 days to read. And it didn't. I actually started a new book, realized that I didn't want that book to take up my precious pages when I only got 3,000 of them this month, and DNF'd it and the entire series. So my series count has gone down pretty nicely, especially because this was also part of a series. So I am surprisingly okay, and I am under no illusions that I have just magically fixed my obsession. I know that part of the reason I'm so chill right now is, 1, I have replaced the obsession with a different thing, and 2, I'm already really far ahead of all of my goals, so it's really easy to take this month off because, I'm already over halfway through the 52 book club challenge, and I'm already at over 40 books for the year. If this was like a February when I wasn't that gigantically far ahead, I probably would be freaking out more. But I am starting to toy around with the idea of just putting a break in my year, like saying, okay, this is the Read Less month every year so that I can force myself to chill out. But also, I'm looking at other kinds of YouTube content, and hopefully at least one of these videos will be out by the time you're watching this, just because I'm not going to have as much book stuff to talk about with Read Less. It would be things like talking about paganism or my skirt collection is the other one I really want to do, because I just finally did a count of how many skirts I own. And I want to talk about that more because I am a true long skirt girly. I literally never wear pants. So it's going to be rounding out, which is, it's bad for YouTube algorithms. I know that this is not a platform that appreciates you breaking outside of the niche, but this channel isn't monetized. I'm not relying on it for income or anything. It's just for my fun. Regardless, I am hoping to get to another book today, and I'm currently sitting at a 102 average for the month so far. So a little bit beyond where I should be, but I've got plenty of days in the month to pull back enough to drop that. And honestly, right now, I don't know exactly what book I would want to jump into next. And I'm not going to force myself because, I've got flute to practice. I've got the story to edit. I am almost done with the first round of editing for a Regency era Death Games story with vampires. Very, very humorous and satirical. And I feel like I have more time in my day to do with that kind of stuff. Now that I'm not trying to shove hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages into my life. But I will check in with you again in a week or so. It is April 13th and it is time for check-in 2. And admittedly, my daily page count has gone up. I didn't think it would because the 12th was my birthday and the 11th was when we were celebrating my birthday because we had an out-of-town wrestling show on my birthday. So I was like, oh, well, clearly I'm going to be doing way too much other stuff to be able to read a lot. But I got caught up in my favorite self-indulgent, kitschy paranormal romance mass market paperbacks that I love. So it's been a kind of relaxing sort of reading. I haven't been reading review books or anything or really hard hitting, nonfiction. It's been my fun stuff. But regardless, I'm still sitting at 111 average page count for the day, just over 1,300 pages for the month. And I'm starting to think that I should just get up to close-ish to 3,000 without going over and then be done. Just clock it there and spend the rest of the month not reading at all, because I do want to hit the ground running in May. May should be an easier month for me work-wise because that is the very end of the school year. And so the last week or two of school, No one does anything during those weeks, like, let's be honest. But in April, we have summer break on the horizon. We see it in the far distance, but we still have to do the standardized tests for the state. So, like, it's really hard because the kids can see it. They're starting to think about it, and you still got to reel them in to keep doing work. So this is probably a really good month to have as a break month in general if I do want to continue doing some kind of break month over the course of my year, just because April is one of the more difficult work months and my birthday month. It would be a good time to pull back, but not necessarily in like limiting my page count, but like maybe saying, okay, this is the self-indulgent month where I only read the stuff I really want to and the stuff that I don't have to think very hard about, rather than, the review books, the hard-hitting nonfiction, the challenges, and all of that kind of stuff. But I do want to hit the ground running in May. I've already been thinking about things. I want to get caught up on all of the books that I was accepting or reading last year that I still have, which is only 7. I'm doing a pretty good job of not letting books stay unread on my TBR for very long. Everything is under a year, but that's also because I hit a 0 TBR last August. So, like, obviously I'm not going to have anything from before that. But I want to get all caught up so that when I hit summer break, I am only working with books from this year, because I don't want to end up with more books in the backlist, but I still have, I need to read at least one more Indie Ink Awards book for judging to meet my judging minimum. I'm in talks to maybe move some things around with the Small Spec Book Awards because I was struggling with the books I had. So, like, I got stuff going on for next month, but that also means I really need to make sure that this month is truly restful so that I can hit the ground running come May. I am doing another readathon. I have learned from my mistake. It's only one readathon, and I am only choosing books that I really want to read or that are on my TBR. I'm going to try not to fixate on the 52 book club challenge, because that was what got me in March. I'll try, but regardless, I'm still feeling pretty good about everything. We'll see where I'm at next week, if I stick to this or if I keep my self-indulgent reading train going, but I will see you then. Good evening. It is April 20th, Easter 420, depending on what you celebrate, and I am burnt out, but we are here for update number 3, and I have only read one more book. This one. I spilled water on it, so now it's all wonky, and this is the 8th book in its series, and it is the one that I have liked the least, which is weird. The relationship dynamics in these books is never super healthy. So I kind of expected that, but for some reason there was a certain aspect of this book where it just bothered me. It felt like the female protagonist in here had way less autonomy than even usual and was being forced into way more stuff, and I just wasn't here for it. Do not support this couple at all. But this is, again, like the 8th book in its series, so I'm not going to stop it right now. I'm also looking forward to the next one. Although I don't actually have any more in this series. I did get a thrift books haul, though, so that should be coming soon. And in general, I'm just kind of, which I knew. It's kind of the reason I picked this month for my Read Less challenge. But it's getting to the point where I'm getting nervous that I'm not going to be able to pick it up come May. Just because, like, I'm pulling back on a lot of stuff. Like, I skipped my flute lesson this last week. I still have to practice flute today, too. So, I'm trying to find some kind of rejuvenating technique, but I have been trying to use all my extra time on other stuff. I've been filming longer videos lately. I've been coloring a lot more. I'm starting to do research for querying certain manuscripts to indie presses. So, we are using the little bit of time I'm not burnt out and not reading for good. But right now it's looking like I'm probably gonna beat this unless I just suddenly become obsessed, because I'm currently sitting at 89 average for the day, every day on average. So it's probably gonna work out. I'm probably not gonna get unburnt out anytime soon because this next week is standardized tests. But after that is when we start the, countdown to the end of the year, and that's usually when the more fun stuff happens. So maybe. I'm just really nervous that I'm going to like try to get it going for Escape the Readathon and realize that I'm still burnt out. That's my current anxiety. Regardless, I guess I'll check in with you either in a week or just wait till the very end of the month. As for the final update, yes, this is being filmed the same night as the intro. I am feeling fairly hopeful, but still uneasy. I wish I could give a more definitive answer of like, this was definitely a success or this was definitely a failure. But I think what's actually going to prove whether or not it was is May. Like, if I can jump into May, hit the ground running with the readathon and go, then that will prove that this was an important restful month to have. However, if I get into May and I'm still in a reading slump, more or less, then not to say that I should have been reading all of this month if that does happen, but like it probably wasn't me consciously taking a rest so much as it was, just kind of crashing out or staying crashed out, I guess, because I mostly crashed out at the end of March. Regardless, I was enjoying this extra time. I have so many other things that I want to focus my energy on, but I think probably the most helpful thing that I did over the course of this month was drop out of stuff. I decided to not do the 25 and 25 challenge. I dropped out of being a reader for the Small Spec Book Awards, and I just pulled back on my reading. Not to say that I'm not energetic in general about my hobbies. I am always going to be a hobby obsessive girly, but I've got a lot of other stuff that I want to focus on now, like with the flute, like with my backlog tackle, and I was watching a lot of my old favorites on DVD, and I was working on my art more, and I loved the content that I was filming during this. Because I didn't have a lot of book stuff to film, I was doing a lot more of things like my skirt collection or solo TTRPGs or an update for the backlog tackle. Like, I was focused on a lot more variety in my content, which I really enjoy, and I do want to continue to a certain extent. Like, obviously I've already started the backlog tackle, so we're going to continue that, but I think I'll have to wait until at least the first week or two in May to really consider this a success or a failure. But right now I'm feeling good on April 30th going into May. That could just be readathon excitement. It could be once I get into the readathon I start slumping again. I don't know. I do think the nonfiction book that I was reading helped, because nonfiction usually helps me in a slump. But regardless, my final count was 2,403 for give or take 80 pages a day. Well underneath what I thought. I honestly could have gotten another whole book in there. I read 6 books over the course of the month and got about halfway through another. And it's kind of funny that that's low for me. When I first started my BookTube channel back in October of 2018, my goal, because I was just getting back into reading, was to read a book a week. My thought process was, if nothing else, I'll have one book to talk about in one video a week. And I've never gone that low. So even this 6-book month, being the lowest I've ever done in my BookTube journey, is still not as low as my original goal. So I guess if you look at it that way, still succeeding. But you can keep up with my reading moving forward if you would like. Subscribe. I will be trying, fingers crossed, hoping to put out blogs for Escape the Readathon. We'll see if I actually follow through with that. But I do think break months are important. I do think it is necessary to look at your hobbies and ask yourself, how much energy do I have for this versus what am I intending to do with it? And in that, I think I am closer to a semblance of balance. I was reliant way too much on reading to like save me, right? To like be my saving grace with all the chaos of the world, but like that's not going to be. So like now instead I have signed up to, volunteer at a blood donation center, and we're going for more community minded stuff. I feel like that'll help the existential dread a little bit more. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. Have you ever done a challenge like this or have had to reevaluate one of your hobbies? Please let me know down in the comments below. And with nothing else to say, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.